let's just say hypothetically, you go to a party and you're just kind of like there and you're just like, I don't want to fucking party. But your friend forces you, jolts you awake and forces you to have fun. Like, hey, start having fun. And just due to just being around him, right? You kind of get infected by his energy, right? You're just like, whoa, okay, I guess I'll start having fun. And you're just like, yeah. And then you begin having fun and then you feel good. And then let's just say hypothetically, right after that, you pull your iPhone out and you've been recording it. Like, yeah, it's such a great night, right? You're going to notice that maybe a day or two or three pass by and all of a sudden you look back at that old video and you'll notice you kind of get almost like a glimpse of what it was like to be in that state of mind, right? And you could almost notice the difference between, like, let's just say you're working a regular 9 to 5 and you come home and you record a voice memo or a video. It's like, hello there. Today was a good day, and you could even try to kind of like force yourself to be positive, but it's not the same as that video from 3 days ago when you were at that party and you were in a really, really great mood. There's just something off about the overall vibe that you're exuding out of this, right? And so this is kind of the idea of a lot of communication, social skills, like even in sales, when you're talking to people, interacting with people, meeting strangers, talking, networking, anything like that, a lot of it, people are more drawn to like the vibe, right? The actual emotions, the undertone of emotions. Of course, you have the actual words that you're saying. Hey, my name is John. I like this. I like potatoes. This is my favorite movie, right? People are, again, yes, they're paying attention to the 10%, which is the words, but then they're looking at the deeper layers, which again, what are those deeper layers? Well, the one below that is the actual delivery, right? Where you could deliver something in a multitude of ways. And this is the idea of exercising and flexing out your voice. And you could, go as far as getting like a voice trainer or like a voice coach where it's like, do re, choir. Getting into singing really helps. I did choir in high school, and that I think just getting those fundamentals down has definitely helped me out, right? And so it's just like delivery, like, hey, how's it going there? Your voice could go trying for rapport, right? Where you exude positivity. Now, one of the downsides with this is that your voice naturally inflects up anytime you're trying to seek some kind of approval and validation, right? And a lot of times, if you're new to different environments or you don't really feel very safe and secure, you generally speaking will try to seek safety and security out there, and your voice will naturally inflect up, right? So, think about this the next time. You're talking to someone and you just kind of feel this neediness exuding out of them. Like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, their voice will kind of inflect up, right? So it's like trying for rapport. You're trying to get someone's rapport, right? And just due to the way that emotions work, desire is kind of felt as a pressure, and neediness, anytime you're not comfortable in your own skin, comfortable, feeling good inside your body, and you're almost like energetically reaching outwardly, people feel that as a pressure and a repulsion. Right? So again, trying for rapport, then you have neutral rapport. This is generally where, your average Joe, working at Walmart, your average Joe working as a cashier, your average Joe even in salesmanship, right? Or, your average Joe will kind of be more neutral rapport. This is where they kind of sound like a robot, right? Where it's like, hello, how's it going? My name is Brian. Yeah, I work in tech, and they just kind of stay at this one frequency, right? But the one below that is what we call breaking rapport, where your voice inflects down at the end. And you could think about this in terms of kind of like the actual terminology is like you break rapport, right? And again, this is kind of like where people, again, due to the way we're conditioned, we kind of tend to gear more towards neutral rapport or trying for rapport, but very rarely do you have someone that actually goes breaking rapport, right? Because it almost kind of like what's the actual undertone of communicating when you break rapport? It really communicates that you are in abundance. You don't really need anything, right? And think about this in terms of like, or it communicates the fact that you're higher up on the quote unquote status totem pole. Like if you think of a cop pulling you over, he's like very, he's not trying to be your friend. He's almost like, hey, license registration, please. Yeah, pull the license and registration, please. Hey, come on, real quick, come on, right? And again, the big thing with breaking rapport tonality is the fact that it actually creates what we call a little bit of a tenseness, right? Now, again, the big thing here is that you should be comfortable flexing your voice out, trying for rapport. Hey, how's it going? What's up? Neutral rapport. Hey, how's it going? What's up? Breaking rapport. Hey, how's it going? What's up? Right? To unlock the full range, right? And again, what you want to kind of mix here is you want to mix in the breaking rapport with the trying rapport. And this is what we call the special sauce, right? Where if you think of an actual comedian, right, on stage, what kind of tonality do they have? If they were completely breaking rapport, where their tonality goes down at the end, like, hey, what's going on, guys? And again, there are some comedians that could pull it off. No, the ideal, the special sauce you want to kind of cultivate here is trying for rapport mixed with breaking rapport. And this is what we call positive dominance, right? Where if you think of a great comedian, they usually have a mixture of positivity in their voice, but also dominance in their voice, right? And so this is what we call positive dominance, right? And so you want to kind of have like this both, it's like a weird mix and mend of positivity. Hey, how's it going? What's up? Yeah, but if you're just positive, people won't take you seriously. But if you're just breaking rapport, right? Like, hey, what's going on, guys? You're just like a negative old grumpy grandpa that's just like sucking the energy and kind of a little instigative and just like no one likes you. Like if you're, maybe there might be like something, but if you mix it in with positivity, that's where you get a nice sweet spot with the delivery. And so that would be the delivery, right? But then going deeper beneath that, we have what we call the vibe, right? And the vibe is really what dictates a lot of this stuff when it comes to social skills, right? So again, if you think about it from this perspective of you're going out, you're meeting people, you're chatting with someone, you're networking, you're at a social event, people are really, really attuned, sensitive to the vibe. They call this the law of state transference. Whatever you feel, generally speaking, people will kind of pick up on that feeling. They'll got to get a glimpse of that feeling, right? If you're in a negative mood, again, why is it that if your friend took you out and you went out, all of a sudden you're going to be like in a very, very, like, again, you feel very, like that vibe infected you, right? I don't know if you've ever also had this where, you feel very, very, negative. And no, you're talking to someone and they're very negative and it kind of rubs off on you and it just kind of brings your mood down, right? As a side point, this comes as a byproduct of not being fully present, right? Because again, it's like linking this a little bit to a book called The Power of Now, where Eckhart Tolle, right, who's a spiritual teacher who teaches a lot about presence. And I think this is the fundamental when it comes to presence. The big thing that he says is like, when they do presence work, right? And when you're a Buddhist, a monk Buddhist, they would actually, the master Buddhist monk would actually walk up to you with a stick and randomly throughout the day, just randomly decide to fucking break a stick on your back. Like you just randomly be laying there and you just be like, wow, what a great day. I got to do my taxes here soon. It's just like, bah! And then they'll break a stick. It's like, what the fuck was that, right? And the big test here is to see if you're present to the moment. Because if you were fully alert, right, there's oil in your lamp. You were fully just present and alert, right? Just like, right? Not retreating your head, not thinking about the future, not thinking about the past. You're just like there, alert, just like taking it all in, right? You're just like, yeah, you're feeling your body glimmering with this light. It's like you feel your toes, your legs, up your thighs, your stomach area, your pelvic area, you all throughout your body, your neck. You're just like fully alert and just brimming with this energy. You would be able to kind of feel the subtleties. Like you'd feel the, master walking up with a stick and just like about to hit you. You'd feel it, right? You'd sense it. You'd kind of like hear it beforehand. You'd be like, okay, right. And you'd be able to dodge it, right? And so as a side point, when you're fully present, right? When you're fully alert, usually you're more kind of proactive. You have more proactivity juice leaking out of you, right? And therefore you're less likely to get infected by other people's vibes, right? That's why you notice if you're in a great mood, and you're just kind of like overflowing with this good mood, you're less likely to get sucked into other people's mood. You're more at the cause than at the effect. It could even go as far as with even negative emotions. Like if you're overwhelmingly angry and that's just kind of like bleeding out of you, right? You're less likely to get penetrated by positivity and want to kind of keep fueling the anger that you have there. It's a little side point, right? But this idea of the vibe, right? 80% of social skills is just like vibe, right? If you're in a good mood, if you're in a nice mood, people will just kind of generally pick up on that. And so the thing that you want to take into consideration here, and this is what I like to call drinking the magic potion, right? What kind of potion are you putting into your body, right? And I think, back in the day, my sister used to play a video game called The Legend of Zelda. Now, I haven't played a lot of the Legend of Zelda, but she ended up getting really, really obsessed with that video game. And one of the things I noticed with that video game is anytime your health is low, right, in playing the Legend of Zelda, you're about to die. If you drink a magical potion, you get health. And this is with any video game, I think, where it's like you drink a magical little potion, you get vitality, right? Now, let's just say, as, example, you were to kind of take one of these potions, right? And it's like, depending on the kind of potion you drink, it's like a dark, poisonous, black, just demonic potion, and you drink it. Instead of giving you health or taking away your health, it actually infected, quote unquote, your aura, right? You drink it and your aura gets infected. So if you drink the negative potion, it's like this weird mixture of negativity, poison, darkness, demonicness, and you drink it, you walk around people are like just reacting to the aura that you're kind of exuding, right? But if you drink a loving potion, right, you're going to begin exuding love, affection, compassion, right? And people just feel good around you, right? And this is the idea of energetic signatures, right? Where if you think about it, every single day of every single hour of every single fucking minute, depending on your habits, what books you read, what podcasts you see, what kind of people you surround yourself with, are kind of almost giving you like these 1, 2, 3% little bits of infections, right? Meaning if you spend a lot of your time watching the news, right, watching a lot of politics, and like I'm not against politics, if that's like one of your passions where you just want to really get into politics and be like an activist or whatever, that's your choice, right? But it's just to kind of be aware of this dynamic here where you're watching something or you're around a certain friend. Over time, what tends to happen, right, unless you become really extremely present to the moment and become really, again, the way you counteract this as a side point is being on your path and purpose as a person, right? Having like a deeper mission where a lot of this stuff, kind of like the petty stuff, falls to the wayside because the size of your problems, right? The size of your purpose will create bigger problems, which the size of your problems will force you to not major in minor things, right? Where it's like, if you don't have big problems, right? Like, oh my God, like Elon Musk, man, the fucking rocket fuel fucked up. He's not really focusing on like some little stupid fucking text message that, his like ex sent him or some shit, right? He's not focusing on that stuff. He's focusing on bigger problems. He might be, but as like a side tangent, right? So bigger the purpose, the bigger you could counteract a lot of these bullshit. You're kind of getting like, these little potion drops, right? Of different things from people, from your habits, shitty sleep, shitty diet, shitty friends, shitty this, shitty that, right? And so overall, this will kind of begin to cultivate what we call an energetic signature, right? And so if you kind of walk up to people and they kind of react negatively, or they're just kind of very polite, or just kind of like meh, they're not giving you that glow, a lot of it is the fact that they're reacting to the overall vibe that you put, right? And so you feel a vibe and you express it through your voice, face, body, your eyes. They just kind of exude outwardly. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found a lot of value in this.